And welcome back.
Yeah, we'll try that again.
To Sports on Tap. Hey, don't tell me to try it again. I got to make sure that Josh just wanted to keep me muted for this segment.
That's my bad, Rob. Technical difficulties. Sorry.
We're Sports
you
on
have
Tap.
those when you're trying to run different aspects of the show and
I know.
check your
You
fantasy
do a
football
lot,
and
man.
watch the Indians. And
You're the executive producer here. Josh is in charge of all our music. Tells us how much time we have. He's the producer of this show. He's the man.
Just waiting for my business cards.
We're Sports on Tap. It's our Ohio high school football coverage. We covered the Greater Cleveland Conference, the Suburban League National and American divisions, the Southwestern Conferences. We covered Buckeye football. We covered Fayetteville football in the Dayton area.
There we go.
So we cover it all here at Sports on Tap. We did not cover, though, our game of the week, which was last week as Westlake headed to Avon. So it was a fun day at Avon. I want to thank Eric Frombach for having us out, the AD, over there at Avon. He was very nice, and the hospitality was unbelievable there.
Yeah, you got to give props to, well, I should say all the schools that we've been to this year have been really pleasant, and they've been really nice to work with, especially when it comes to social media. They've been retweeting a lot of our stuff, our updates for the game. And this past week, same story, both
Tony Cipollone at Westlake, he's the athletic director there. He came up to us and talked to us.
Yeah,
and he sent us stats this week, so I want to thank him as well. Anytime we have stats from these schools, it always helps our coverage out to be accurate, not only with player names, because I know Westlake, they did a nice job sending name pronunciations over, because sometimes, we don't have the pronunciations right in front of us.
And we want to get them right. So.
Exactly. We want to give these kids credit for their great games that they have. So I want to thank, again, Avon and Westlake. It was great to see everyone out there. And we'll tell everybody about our game of the week coming up after we recap Week 5, which had Westlake heading to Avon. And Avon was 4-0, Westlake at 3-1. And Avon was able to get on the board first with a 63-yard touchdown run from senior running back Mason McLemore, giving the Eagles a 7-0 early lead in the first quarter. And actually, that's how the first quarter would end. 7-0 Avon was up in this point in the game. Then Avon's first possession of the second quarter started on the Westlake 49-yard line. The drive was all Mason McLemore, who had a 29-yard run and capped the drive off with a 5-yard touchdown run to give Avon a 14-0 lead midway through the second quarter. A Demon fumble late in the second quarter gave Avon the ball on the Westlake 22-yard line, and that's where Avon quarterback Matt Kelly was able to score on a 1-yard touchdown run to give the Eagles a 21-0 lead with 2 minutes left in the half. Westlake, though, they'd move the ball, scoring before half on a 2-yard touchdown pass from Trey Bilois to senior wide receiver Connor Sterneckert. Avon held a 21-7 lead at half, and at this point in the game, I thought that touchdown was pretty big because Avon had momentum all in their favor. They were up 21-0. And a nice drop by Westlake to respond there. To start the second half, it was a big run from Mason McLemore to start the second half to get them close to the end zone, and it was capped off by a 5-yard touchdown run by Aaron Endrizel. Avon led 28-7 early in the third quarter. But Westlake, they didn't give up in this game. They responded on the very next drive with a 34-yard touchdown pass from Trey Bilois to wide receiver Terrence Rose. Avon led at this point 28-14 with 10 minutes left in the third quarter. And Terrence Rose, you want to watch an exciting player. I think we saw some of his quickness.
He's fast, for sure.
And Bilois, he's a really good quarterback. Struggled a little bit in this game, inconsistent throwing, but I think you got to give credit to Avon's defense. They really forced him out of the pocket and into some tough situations. There. Now, Avon would follow with a 21-yard touchdown run again by Mason McLemore, his third of the night, and the Eagles took a 35-14 lead as the fourth quarter began. Then Westlake, they would start the fourth quarter with a 70-yard touchdown drive powered by a 44-yard touchdown pass reception, again to Terrence Rose, his second of the night from quarterback Trey Bilois. and it was Trey Bylois' third touchdown of the evening. Avon led 35-21 midway through the fourth quarter. Then the Avon defense really stepped up their game, stopping any Westlake momentum, forcing a turnover on downs on 2 straight possessions. The Demons had chances in this one, but Avon's defense was pretty tough. Avon wins 35-21. They now stay undefeated and is now 5-0, 4-0 in conference. Westlake falls to 3-2, 2-2 overall. Avon will travel to Lakewood, as Westlake now, they will host Midview. The Middies going to see that new turf in Westlake Stadium. And, you know, I had Mason McMore as one of my MVP candidates, especially in that game. 241 yards rushing for Mason McMore, 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, he had a
really good game.
Yeah, he had at least 1 touchdown, too, called back due to a holding penalty, too. In fact, in that game early on, Avon had 2 touchdowns called back due to penalties. The first half of the game, it was somewhat sloppy on both sides of the ball with penalties galore. And then those things seemed to settle down. Westlake came back, like you mentioned, had some quick hits in the second half. Avon came out in the second half, was just running ball control and really just running the ball right at Westlake. And it really became too much. And Westlake was a little overpowered there at the end, but nonetheless, another good game that we covered. I mean, it was really one for the tough old school football right there. Big running plays, and again, I have to give props to the student sections out in Avon. Really, really intense. They really had a good time. And then the Westlake band got into it. Was having a good time late in the second half there. So it was an all-around great atmosphere, great game to cover. We had a lot of fun. It was a great night for football, although it did get a little cloudy, got a little windy, thought some rain was moving in, but there was no rain. No rain to be had. It was a nice, cool evening, great for high school football. So it was awesome to cover that one, but we're looking forward to this coming week. And Rob?
Well, I have one more stat.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Westlake, I got to give them credit for Westlake. Trey Bylois, he threw for 259 yards and 3 touchdowns. And, some stats on the year for him. He threw for 1,063 yards, 14 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. He also has rushed for 324 yards and 5 touchdowns on the year. Connor Sterneckert, he caught a touchdown pass in this game on the year, 397 yards and 7 touchdowns on the year. So Kadar Robinson, too, 366 rushing and 3 touchdowns on the year. So Westlake's going to have a tough task with Midview coming up. But, yeah, let's get to our game of the week this Friday. And Ed's going to be pretty pumped about this. It's going to feature the Suburban League National Division, 2 teams from that division.
Yes, we will have the Brecksville-Broadview Hts Bees traveling to Macedonia to take on the Nordonia Knights. Quarterback Luke Sternad is going to lead the Bees offense against the potent offense of Nordonia, led by quarterback Robbie Levick and running backs Anthony Perrine and Ty Evans. I'll tell you what, this is going to be a pretty high-scoring match, I think. Brecksville really hasn't been stopped all year, and Nordonia, they've run into a couple of buzzsaws in Hudson and Stowe, so they're looking to get back on track against a Brecksville defense that, admittedly, I have seen them live, and we were able to chew them up pretty good for yardage. Brunswick was before they were able to finally take down the Blue Devils. If you look at Brecksville stats, they've scored 36, 34, 42, 41, 48 points in their 5 games.
Yeah.
They're doing it right for themselves. Nordonia has no slouches either. 38, 38, 55,
Jeez.
and then 7 and 28. But you're going against 2 of the best teams in the state in Hudson and Stowe. So you got so I'm looking forward to seeing how the offenses are going to do, and I guess more specifically how the defenses are going to do, and see what kind of
who's going to make the stops. I guess that's what it's going to ultimately come down to. I mean, you look at Brecksville, they held off that tough Twinsburg team 48-37. Like you gave Luke Strenad, your candidate MVP or your player MVP with 5 touchdown passes, 371 passing.
Absolutely.
I mean, those are impressive. I'm really excited to see him, and also I don't know how to say this guy's last name, but their wide receiver, Sam Wigloos.
Wigloos.
He caught 12 passes for 207 yards and 3 scores in that game. How are those two going to combine against a good Nordonia team? Nordonia is really going to have to, I think, contain Stranad if they want to have a shot in this one.
Well, Stranad is like another coach out there. He can
change the plays.
He changes. He can change the plays. He pretty much has carte blanche to whatever he wants to do. I mean, he obviously works with the offensive coordinator and whatnot. But just from what I can tell on the sidelines, he's usually in the shotgun. He's either 4 wide with a running back in the back, or he's 5 wide and he's just back there by himself. And he just never seems to make the wrong decision. And last year he had a great year going until he got hurt. And he had one of the two. He had a Tupa last year as well to throw to. This year, Sam Wigloos has filled that role just fine, and you got 2 running backs in Joni McGonigal and Alec Buckley, who are tough runners, but they're going to both catch the ball out of the backfield. McGonigal is a little bit better catching out of the backfield than Buckley is, but they're a very formidable offensive unit, and it's going to take a lot. They're going to give Nordonia some problems. On the flip side, though, Nordonia's got, they don't have a bad team themselves.
Yeah.
Robbie Levick is young. He's only a sophomore for Nordonia, but he's getting a lot of good experience, and he's put up a lot of points this year leading that offense with Anthony Perrine and Ty Evans. Perrine and Evans were stalwarts last year as juniors on that Knights team, and they're picking up right where they left off. This year, and like I said, I mean, when you're going against Hudson and Stowe, you're going to have some tough sledding. I think Nordonia, though, I think you're going to start seeing them put some numbers up against this back half of the schedule for the Knights. This will probably be their toughest test, maybe besides a matchup against Twinsburg in Week 9, because Twinsburg's been putting up some points as well.
Yeah,
they have a pretty explosive offense with Jalen Tucker, Adam Vandermatter, and Christian Edgerson. They have a tough team themselves, and they gave Brecksville some fits. So this will be a great matchup, and you guys, I tell you what, you guys are gonna get your money's worth out of this. As far as
I'm looking forward to.
I think the scoreboard's gonna light up pretty. Gonna be changing quite often.
And it's probably gonna be a good game because we've
actually picked some pretty good games.
Some good games this year so far.
I think the games that seemed like maybe they weren't going to be so good, they were 35-21 games. I mean, they were still close, and it could have went either way. Yeah, it's a 14-point win by their team, but a few things go differently, and we could have been talking about the other way around. So, yeah, I'm excited to see Anthony Perrine. We've talked about him a lot the last few years about how good he really is, putting up huge numbers, and I think it's impressive. Is Robbie Levick?
Robbie
Levick. A sophomore quarterback. You don't see that too often, so I think we're going to see how he's going to respond against a very good, fundamentally sound Brecksville-Broadview Hts team.
And again, just to make sure, Game of the Week coverage features Twitter updates during the game. Follow us at SOT Podcast on Twitter, and a awesome article on NEO Sports Insiders to go along with our really good highlight video package that Rob does a good job on that. So
we have interviews also.
Yeah, we will interview some coaches, the winning coach hopefully, and a player.
Possibly,
if all goes well. So a lot of good things. So make sure you keep with us. Sports on Tap on Twitter at SOT Podcast. Also like us on Facebook. We are on there. And make sure you look us up at neosportsinsiders.com.
Great job. Josh Jeffrey, everyone. I want to thank everyone for listening to our Ohio high school football coverage. Again, these are all archived on YouTube. If you want to go there and listen, you can go also on our Facebook page. It's all over Twitter. We'll try to get them on iTunes as well. So if you want to listen to them in different areas, there's different ways to go back and listen to our coverage other than live if you can't make our live, which live is the sweetest, though. All right, we're live from Studio J in Brunswick, Ohio. I want to thank you all for listening. Have a great week. Good luck to all the teams on Friday. I know we're a little bit away, but it's going to be fun. We'll see you guys in Nordonia. We're Sports on Tap, part of the NEO Sports Insiders Network. It's our Ohio high school football coverage. Have a great week, everyone.